Hi guys, so today I'm going to be doing Venus in air signs. So I'm going to be talking about having your Venus in either Gemini, Libra, or Aquarius. These lights are like literally blinding me. Anyways, so if you don't really know what Venus is, if you don't know how to find your Venus, I have some links down below to look up your birth chart or find your Venus. And also, I have an intro to Venus video, which kind of explains what I'm talking about here, so I will put the link to that down below as well. If you don't want to watch all three and you just want to watch, Gemini, just want to watch Libra or Aquarius, I will list the times down below to skip to so that you don't have to suffer through this entire video. Because that's the definition of suffering right there. So let's start with having your Venus in Gemini. This person will probably tend to be very charming. They'll probably be pretty witty, they'll be entertaining. This person will really want to have an intellectual connection with somebody before they'll consider a romantic relationship. And this is kind of true with platonic relationships as well, ones that they will consider important ones. They might have a hard time settling down. I mean, as a Venus in Gemini, they're going to have a really easy time drawing people in and having people feel like they're connecting to them. So this might possibly make them feel like they just have too many options to choose from and they don't want to settle down and pick just one. So that being said, they can be quite flirty and they honestly might be easily tempted to cheat. I'm not saying every Venus in Gemini is a cheater. I'm just saying the temptation will probably be there for them and they might, go for it more than some of the other Venus placements. This person really doesn't want to feel trapped. They don't want to feel suppressed. And they can also be really quite creative and expressive people. They really see relationships as something that should be fun and happy. Intense emotions will not be easy for them to navigate or handle. This person's probably going to have a ton of interests in their life, a ton of different passions, goals, etc. And a romantic relationship is really never going to be their top number one priority. A person with their Venus in Gemini loves new people, and they'll probably have a lot of acquaintances. They can have successful monogamous relationships, but they really need to have social outlets for this to work. As a Venus, or having your Venus in Libra, you might realize that it's hard for you to kind of have a good control over your money. So just be careful with that. Oh my god, it's really hot in here. Lots of lights, no fan, no AC, and a dark corner. It's getting real. That was an epic fail. Now we're going to talk about having your Venus in Libra. This is a great, glorious place for Venus to be. This person will probably be direct and clear with others, but they can also be very easily hurt. They'll most likely be able to relate to people with ease, but they're going to be the type of people that prefer a more peaceful social situation. They're not the type that really wants to be around a wild bunch or a huge group of people. They don't want to be overwhelmed in any way like that. This person is probably going to be kind, and they may find that having a meaningful relationship comes pretty easily to them. This person's probably going to be the type of person that has great taste in art, fashion, food, etc. And they're probably going to come across as pretty elegant and cultured. Even though I said that relationships might be really easy for them to navigate, this person is also going to be very focused on love. They love love, love being in love. You get my point. You get my drift. They're going to look for a person that kind of has all the traits of a knight in shining armor or a fairy tale princess. Things that very rarely exist in reality. So they might find that they can become disappointed, and also they can fall in love or fall for somebody a little too quickly. They might jump in before they've really considered things. And so this is another reason they might, experience disappointment in love a little more frequently than your average Joe. This person is the type of person that's going to actually appreciate cheesy romantic gestures, like sprinkling some rose petals on the floor, stuff like that. And they'll also be the type of friend that's going to really like when somebody does a thoughtful thing for them, even if it seems kind of cheesy or lame to other people. The Venus and Libra will really appreciate that and like it. Feeling balanced in life is really important to this person. If things start to get a little too crazy or out of whack, it could honestly potentially make this person physically ill. That's how important feeling balanced is to them. This person can be really successful with design and fashion or being really good at interior decorating. They might be a little bit inclined to overspend due to like their fine taste in things. So they just kind of need to be careful. Yes, they have really good taste and stuff, but they just, might be a little more tempted to spend a little too much money or more than they have. Now we're going to talk about Venus in Aquarius. This person might come across as kind of cold, and yes, I know I say this person a lot, but it's a lot easier to say, if you or a person you know has a Venus in Aquarius, they might come across as a kind of cold. It's like a little too much, don't you agree? A little over the top. Where meaningful relationships can be really easy for Venus in Libra, it's actually quite the opposite for Venus in Aquarius. Understanding the emotional sides relationships can really be a challenge for a Venus in Aquarius. So this person honestly might find comfort in more surface relationships. So, more like acquaintances or kind of like superficial friendships. And I'm not calling them superficial, I'm just saying it's a little easier for them to not have to like dig down deep inside themselves with their relationships with other people. They just want it easy breezy. Beautiful cover girl. Fuck that brand. This person will care about being fair and morals and what is right. All that stuff will be really important to them. But when it comes to empathy and truly understanding others, it will be hard for them. Now, just because deep relationships are going to be a challenge for this person, it doesn't mean that they're not going to have friends, because a Venus in Aquarius is probably going to have a lot of friends. Like, they can definitely appreciate and they want a good social life. Connecting on a deeper level is where the problem rests. This person will like to be helpful with others, and they might even really enjoy being involved in charities. Again, connecting emotionally is really difficult, and they might find like they kind of push love away. They might just have a detached approach towards a romantic relationship, and they're the type of person that's going to hate dealing with jealousy or big scenes or huge, emotional displays. It's going to make them super uncomfortable. They're the type that's probably going to form a friendship long before a romantic relationship occurs. Like, they'll go from friendship to romance, at their own pace, in time, maybe quickly, probably not though. This person will really love being part of a group, and they can also find financial success in a group scenario. Or if they're working for a general cause, then they might see more success financially or career-wise for themselves. They'll really relate to others based on their morals and beliefs more than anything else. So if you're trying to relate to someone with their Venus in Aquarius, you'll see and find that the best way to do this is focusing on, your beliefs, your opinions, stuff like that, and not on the emotional, deeper connection, because it's just way too uncomfortable for them. So that is it for having your Venus in an air sign. I hope this video might be helpful to you. I know in my last video some people said I focused a little too much on the negative, but really what I'm trying to do is just make people aware of what their challenges might be with their Venus placement so that they can know and, work on them and not be held hostage to them, so that they are enlightened and aware. But yeah, so that's what I'm trying to do over here. Having your Venus or any planet placement is not like the end of the world or anything terrible. It's just some placements are more challenging than others, and that's okay. We all have our challenging aspects and parts of our birth charts, and we're all going through it at some point or another, or in some way or another. But anyways, that is it for this video. If you enjoyed, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, and if you liked this video and my other videos, subscribe if you haven't already. I'd love to have you in my little corner. It's pretty lonely. Yeah. Anyways, as always, have a good day or night.
All of the lights, lights. Dun, 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 dun. When you get wires in the back of your videos, because that's how classy you are.